services have been booming, and we found out too. What are you doing about your business? Do you want more clients? Do you want more people to know about the services that you do provide? Do you have a luncheon coming? What about your premieres? Call MBC. Advertise your birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, church program, or request our coverage at your function. MBC, at your service 24/7. Call 832-887-6452 or call 281-888-9502. MBC, your favorite station, sharing African views.
Sasa, whether Christian or Muslim, Nigeria is not a country that is totally Muslim or a Christian. All what we need is somebody that can lead the country to a promised land.
As a mother, these are too many things that loaded in you, so you have to understand that if God gave you all these realities, He's also giving you grace and capacity.
Thank you. Yes, I love what I do. Shegungele, this is what they call me, so this is Shegungele.
Welcome to Wazobia Market.
Welcome to Trinity Africa Bar and Grill at Suite J, 5700 South Gessner, Houston, Texas 77036. Come dine in a contemporary setting and enjoy our specialties like Francophone coconut rice, grilled fish, plantain and African spice, jollof rice, pounded yam and ogbono soup, vegetable soup, and much more. Calling to order your takeout and outdoor catering and experience our second-to-none services at an affordable price. Take advantage of our $10 lunch special from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Trinity African Bar and Grill is located at Suites J, 5700 South Gessner, Houston, Texas 77036. A taste that commands order for more.
People assume quality car insurance has to cost more. People assume too much. The truth is, drivers who switched to Allstate last year saved money and got better protection. So get the facts, because you know what they say about people who assume. They pay more for car insurance than you and me.
Call Olukayode Ajanaku for your auto, home and life insurance at 9903 State Highway 6 South, Suite 600 Sugarland, Texas 77498. Telephone 713-776-3276. Good morning, everyone. You're welcome to Dawn on MBC. Well, we decided to start off with that beautiful music video from beautiful Nubia, a Nigerian who was once based in Canada. And for those who speak Yoruba, the Yoruba-speaking part of Nigeria, good morning, Owuro Lojo. It's a brand new day right here on Dawn on MBC, and we're so happy to be here with you this beautiful morning. So we hope you had a very spectacular week. It's a brand new weekend, and we have all things set out for you. And we hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, the time will come when we'll open the phone lines for you to call. But I'll just quickly give you a number ahead of time. It's 713-340-7514. We'll be talking about Nigeria, accessing the situation in Nigeria so far. We'll be talking about tax and IRS on the show today also. So it promises to be a good package, lots of musical videos. We'll bring you the headline news. I was invited to a 25th wedding anniversary not too long ago. We covered it. We got something for you to show you from there. So what else let's take the trending stories right now. And for trending stories, we'll be starting off with the recent visit of President Barack Obama to Kenya. Yes, he went back home. You know what it feels like? He had to go back home and have a feel of home. And though he was this time around returning home as a president, not when he went as just being a senator of the United States, the whole of Kenya was happy to receive him. I remember watching one of the videos where he was referred to as, it's time for us to welcome home our son, our brother. And at that time, there was just that pride of being an African. And what else can you say? That was him right there at dinner with family and friends, enjoying it right there in Kenya. It was a very beautiful one, that I must say. The pictures sure speak for itself, right? So that was sometime in July. And next, well, this story, not directly concerning Africans, but I think it affects humanity because we all remember that sometime in 2012, a certain man by the name James Holmes walked into the theater in Colorado and shot people, yes, to death. Well, finally, he has been sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. So this sentence was handed yesterday, and what else can we say? That doesn't really return all the souls that were lost, but then I think it's just a good one for justice being done. And many people whose family or friends were killed at this place had something today to say about it. They felt very good about it. Yes, those are pictures of the people that he killed, the 12 people he killed, which included a child. A very sad day it was right there. And then this past week also, we had members of the U.S. Congress visit Nigeria. This was just part of a tour of Africa that we're having. They did stop at some other African countries before stopping in Nigeria. And guess what? One of our very own great supporter of Nigeria, everything Nigerian, talking about Congresswoman Sheila Lee Jackson. She was part of the people who visited President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. And of course, we all know that she represents Houston District 25, yes, at the Congress. So some pictures there, and not just that, she also took part in the outdoor sit-down campaign for the Bring Back Our Girls in Abuja. I hope my producer is able to put up that picture also. We have that picture for you. It was just part of her trip where she did attend that sit-down thing for the campaign.
And the picture you're seeing right there was that of General Muhammad, President Muhammadu Buhari. Why do I call him General, right? It's hard for me to let go of that fact, but he has said he should be referred to as President Muhammadu Buhari. Of him shaking the hands with one of the executives of ExxonMobil, because this past week, the man standing to his left was newly appointed the GMD of NNPC. Okay, so we're just quickly wrapping up all of these stories. Just a quick wrap up of what's happening around town. I was thinking I could give you a few facts about this newly appointed GMD, but probably not today. My producer is asking me to wind down. So on this trending segment, well, that's his picture. Yes, that's the new GMD of NNPC right there. So, folks, we got to cut it off right now. And guess what? We'll quickly take our headline news, and we'll be back in the studio with you on Dawn. Of course, so many stories emanating from Africa this past week. A lot of events that we could not even put on the headlines. Now, this one is a pretty sad one, and I mean very sad, because this is a story many of you may have seen, and for those who have not, it's about a Nigerian man who killed his mother in Longview, Texas. A very sad one. The mother, who used to be HOD, at University of Jos in Nigeria, was found dead in her apartment when her son called 911. After autopsy, yes, the report was autopsy report, pardon me, said that she had lots of head injury, which she must have sustained from something hard eating her. And the guy is now being held in Gregg County Jail here in Texas. It's a very sad one. This happens a lot within the community, and we don't think this is a very good one. You hear stories of a husband killing the wife killing the husband, and I'm sure someday on this show we'll have to talk about that, and we'll just see why do we have a rise in such crimes within the African community? But right now, let's take a quick music break, and I'll be right back with my guest on Dawn on MBC. Don't go anywhere. If you have questions about your taxes, IRS, what you should do when you get a letter from the IRS, you have a small business, and you're just wondering what a letter you received recently means, tune in to Dawn on MBC right now. Phone number 713-340-7514. Welcome back to Dawn on NBC, and I hope you did enjoy that one from, well, he used to be known as Chief Commander Ebenezer Obey back in the days, and then he turned around, change of name, he became Evangelist Ebenezer Obey, who runs a church in Nigeria, and it comes to this country frequently too, that if you do not understand Yoruba, it's just asking God to show him or her, or, okay, him or her or you or whatever, the way to go. Right now this morning, like I told you, we'll be talking about the issue of taxation and IRS this morning. If you've recently received a letter from IRS, you're wondering what to do. What's the first step? What do you have to do when you get such letters? What does it really mean? Well, I got the expert in the house. He's well known within the African community and even outside the African community. He's fondly called OJ Lawal. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
It's great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us this morning. So let's take it up. This is usually the time of the year when people get letters from IRS and all of those. What's the mood like around this time?
Well, about this time, the tax season is already over. The letters that people are getting from IRS around this time of the year is an audit letter that it can be due to compliance, it can be due to where people reported their income less than what the IRS is showing in their own record. But it's not going to be for the year of filing. It's not going to be for 2014. Usually it may be for 2012 or it may be for 2013. When people receive this type of letter, the mood is that they panicked. They panicked. If they have somebody else who prepared their tax, they're already seeking the person out to say, okay, what did you miss out in preparing my tax? And looking at those letters, the first thing I can tell anybody is, first of all, talk to your preparer. If you do not have a preparer, go and talk with an accountant or an attorney who specializes in that area. You see people, they don't have the income to do so. What do? Is that they can really, we do have somewhere in there, especially in the Houston area, we have some, what we call a pro bono services. People can really sit down with you, they will help you to analyze the letter, and they will guide you.
Okay, so this, if I'm allowed to cut in at this point, when you talk about the pro bono services, is this something free?
It is free.
Okay.
It is free. Usually you can get it from the legal clinic or you can get it from accounting clinic. These clinics are always established in the university areas. Therefore, if you reach a university like University of Houston, they do have, the clinic, tax clinic. If you do go to Texas Southern University, they do have tax clinic. Even HBU, that is a very small school, also do have some clinic that you can go to. When we say clinic, we don't mean where you can get medical treatment. It means where you can get some people to help you to resolve those issues.
So when you take these letters to them, they usually will access the letter and then they tell you what next to do?
Yes, usually when you look at the letters, there are different type of letters you can get. There are some that we call CP2000 letters.
Okay.
The CP2000 letters are the letters where definitely the person did not report some type of income. What we've observed lately in the last 2 years of what we get in a CP2000 is where people get some debt forgiven by a bank or a credit card company. Okay. And when you get those debt forgiven, many people do not know that those money that were forgiven, they are income. Therefore,
they're taxable.
They are taxable.
Interesting.
And they don't report it on their taxes.
Okay.
Therefore, the government will now send them a letter to say, okay, those money that you are forgiving are taxable, but there are some conditions that make it taxable. The condition that makes it taxable is that if you are very solvent at the time of the forgiveness.
Right.
If you are not solvent at the time of forgiveness, then those money is not taxable. What is required of you is to prepare what we call a Form 982 and a solvency worksheet to show the government that those money are money that were forgiven when you were insolvent, and they can let it go.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, for those of you who have just tuned in, this show is called Dawn on MBC. The number to call is right there on your screen. You can be part of this discussion. I already have some people who've sent me messages on Facebook. So right now, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll still be talking with OJ Lawal on the issue of IRS. And this time around, the question we want to ask is, what if you don't have money to pay at this time? So we'll be back with you. Don't go anywhere. It's Dawn on MBC.
Since MBC has been at your service, our clients have told us their businesses have been booming, and we found out too. What are you doing about your business? Do you want more clients? Do you want more people to know about the services that you do provide? Do you have a luncheon coming? What about your premieres? Call MBC. Advertise your birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, church program, or request our coverage at your function. MBC, at your service 24/7. Call 832-887-6452 or call 281-888-9502. MBC, your favorite station, sharing African views.
Welcome to Wazobia Market.
Okay, so you're welcome back, and we still have the honor of having Mr. OJ Lawal in the studio with us this morning as we examine what people should do at this point, at this time of the year when you receive a letter from IRS. And so far, in case you just tuned in, he's told us that they have these clinics in university environments in the city of Houston. If you go to the Houston Baptist University, if you go to the University of Houston, you go to the
Texas Southern University, or you go to Thurgood Marshall School of Law, they do have a taxation clinic in there.
And the good thing about this is it's for free. They're able to access your letter, and they'll be able to tell you what to do. And right before we go into the question I popped before the break, which is, assuming you get a letter that you're owing and you don't have money, let's quickly, you told us that for people who are owing, for taxpayers, usually this time of the year is when they get a bit jittery, panicky, and all of those. But for CPAs, what does it feel like at this time of the year?
Well, it's just the extension of the tax year for us, the extension of the tax season. Usually, when we do have our own client getting this letter, our goal is to sit down with them to see what we can do to resolve it. When we get people who were not previously our clients, who are just coming in to retain our services, we consider it to be an additional income that can come in. And our goal is to sit down with them, evaluate the letters that they're bringing in. We try as much as possible to see what are the ways that we can help the taxpayer. Usually, many taxpayers, when they get letters where the government is really asking them to provide some records to substantiate what they're claiming on their return, our job is to assist them, to break it down, to let them know exactly what the government is asking for. Prior to answering that question, you ask a question. If the taxpayer is really owing and they cannot pay, what happened? What happened is that there are so many programs that the government has developed for taxpayer who cannot pay.
Okay.
We have the installment agreement plan where the taxpayer will go in and tell the government, these are my income, this is about what I can pay. Government will evaluate, their income, their expenses, and we have so many forms that is being used for that. We have the 433A, we have the 433B, 433F, 433D. Anything you hear in 433 is a way of government looking at your income and expenses and be able to determine whether you can pay. Sometimes you see some taxpayers that they cannot pay at all. Government gets to the point where they will put that account as uncollectible and they will leave the taxpayer alone for the period. However, it's not unusual that you see the government coming back
for the taxpayer
for about a year or two to still reevaluate to see whether that money is still collectible. However, what we suggest to our client when we see situation like that is what we see us calling offer in compromise.
Okay, there's a call coming in already. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
This is Ekua from Sugarland.
Okay, so what's your question?
Yeah, here, Mr. Lawal, if, like you said, maybe a credit card forgives my loan, and it now turns out to be that I have to pay taxes on that forgiveness, and I have the inability to pay immediately. What's my recourse? Does it become a criminal? Oh, I don't know how, but what trouble am I in?
That's a very beautiful question. First of all, the best thing I will tell you is that the chances is very high that when your debt are forgiven by a credit card company, it is first of all good to analyze as of that particular point that your debt was forgiven. It's good to analyze to be sure that you are not insolvent. If you are insolvent as of that particular time, you may get also the government forgiveness of where you don't pay money on those forgiven amount. Therefore, the first step you want to take is to determine whether you are insolvent or solvent. If you are insolvent, what you need to complete for the government is to complete a Form 982 and also to do what we call a solvency worksheet. I will advise you, if you're not familiar with it, please seek assistance from a professional to assist you with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so you were trying to explain before the call came in. We're talking about what people should do in case they don't have the money to pay at that point. And
Yes.
you said some could end up going into that account of
uncollectible, and then other people will be where they can be on installment payment. The government has a program now. We call it Fresh Start. The Fresh Start is where what you owe the government is less than $50,000, or if you can reduce what you owe to less than $50,000, they will set up a payment plan for you, where they can go to an account that you set up on your regular account to allow you to pay instrumentally.
Okay.
And that is another thing that one can do. The next one is the offer in compromise that we are explaining earlier. You will have seen so many commercials from my colleagues out there saying that we can let you pay 1 cent on a dollar. We can let you pay 2 cents on a dollar. It's true, because basically the position is that the government realize that they cannot get blood out of turnip. Therefore, the best thing that they do is to have this program that we call offer in compromise. Offer in compromise allows you to present your position, to present your financial picture of where you are, and to look at the amount that you owe, and then come up with an amount that you believe that you can pay to satisfy all those debt that you owe. And you can pay it in a lump sum, or you can pay it in up to 24 months.
But it's important to let people know that all of these options are available are going to be based on your assessment after you've been assessed.
True, but we need to define assessment. Assessment comes in two forms. Assessment may be what you owe. the second assessment you are referencing right now is after they've looked at your financial picture. When they look at your financial picture, which is what you have submitted or you would submit to them, they will look at your income, your liability, your extra disposable income, that nothing is taken based on their own standard, and they will multiply it by some months. And let's say you owe them 300,000. By the time they do the analysis, maybe all you can pay based on that on a 24-month scale is only 10,000. Then your offer in compromise will be for 10,000, but it comes with conditions. The condition is that you must not owe the government for the next 5 years. You must file your taxes on time, and you must pay your taxes on time. If you can meet that, all those money that you owe on top of that 10,000 that they ask you to pay is forgiven.
Okay.
So our government is not bad.
It's not bad, right? Okay, so let me ask you this question also. We're gradually winding down. At what point do taxpayers or people who are owing the government need to consult a professional?
We encourage people, anybody that is making some substantial amount of income, to try to consult a professional at each of their levels. You don't want to wait after you've completed your tax that you consult a professional. That will be where, you know, you are now looking for something that is already damaged. Prevention is better than cure. It's really good to consult a professional, even just for consult alone, to say, okay, here is my taxes, where do I go? I don't have the money to pay you, and we see that a lot. I can't pay an accountant, but I need you to assist us. And we will sit down to say, okay, you will need to report this, you will need to report this. You don't need to worry yourself about this. But if you can afford to pay, consult somebody.
All right, there's another call coming for us. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Jumoke. I'm calling from Bayonle.
Okay, Jumoke, go ahead and ask your question.
I want to confirm that at what point the government start getting interested in paying money on lottery winning?
Jumoke, that's an interesting question, but I'm going to expand your question a little bit, and I'm going to rephrase it.
Okay.
At what point does the government get interested when you owe and you are not paying, or at what point does the government get interested if you are not reporting? Those are two different questions. Let's take it one by one. Government gets interested when you are owing and you are not communicating with them about how you want to pay the money. Okay. When you don't communicate with them about how you want to pay, they've sent you the letter, they send you the CP39, they've sent you letter to say, okay, come and pay the money. They've sent you the letter of, intent to sue, or they've sent you so many different type of letter, and you ignore this letter. Then you receive a letter of intent to cease and to forfeit. By the time you get in this, I will encourage you that you get somebody to work with you. The other one that you raise is when does government get interested in you. Many of us will work, we will get a W-2 and 1099, and we will not file our taxes. And this will have piled up for maybe 3-4 years. The first thing the government will do will be to file the taxes for you, and not considering all other factors that may help you to reduce your tax. They will just file a basic for you. What do we call basic? If you are married and they can only trace your income for you, they will file you single. Let's say you have 3 children. They're not going to account for your children. Let's say you have expenses. They're not going to account for your expenses. They will just put those income in, and they will assess the money.
Based on the income.
Exactly. Therefore, it's left for you now to go back, seek a professional who will now advise you to now file what we call an audit reconsideration. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. OJ Lawal. Well, my producer is telling me this is time to wind down. But just before I let you off this morning, I just want to ask you this question. So for those people, for our viewers who are watching at this time, what would your last word to them assuming you've received an IRS letter, what's the first step you should take, or what's the general advice you give to someone who's just received a letter?
Once you receive the letter, the first of what I would tell anybody, seek a professional help. Seek a professional help. And I do tell clients, when you have a toothache, you don't take the hammer and remove your tooth by yourself. What you do, seek a professional help, and it will go a long way.
Okay, thank you so much. Uh-oh, that's just another call. Let's quickly take this final one before we call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, this is Stephen.
Okay, Stephen, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask your guest, what are the disadvantages and advantages of setting up a business as an S-Corp as opposed to a C-Corp?
Wow, Stephen, I wish we have time for your question, but it's a topic that we will treat in another day. The advantages is really, and disadvantages is really depending on your holistic package of yourself. If you are, it's just a question that if I start talking about, I'll be here till 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock today.
Just be well advised that when I make another appearance on this show, I will address that question in details. It will be a topic by itself. What is the advantages and disadvantages of a C corporation compared with an S corporation? I will go into details. It's a class by itself in college for a whole semester, but we'll try to see what we can do in my next appearance on this show.
Okay.
Thanks for calling, Stephen. Wow, that's so much we can take on the show. And you were just trying to say, if you did get a letter from IRS, try as much as possible to seek a professional advice.
That is the best thing that I can tell anybody. Seek a professional advice, and you don't have to be limited to one person. You can seek a second opinion before you make up your mind.
All right, so thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning. We do appreciate your coming to the show on Dawn. So you heard it all, but you can always go to our Facebook page or send us your text or email should in case you have other questions, and we'll definitely forward them to Mr. OJ Lawal. He's still going to appear on this show again very soon in the next couple of weeks to deal with some other topics. Until then, let's take another break right now and say a big thank you to you, and we'll be back. Welcome back, and before we call it a wrap on the show this morning, we'll be quickly taking a look at the state of affairs in Nigeria. This past week, the country woke up to the announcement of the new GMD for Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, and in the person of how can I forget his name now? Dr. Emmanuel Ibe Kachiku, and he used to be well until his appointment, Vice President ExxonMobil.
Look, without any doubt, I mean, I think the qualification stands for itself. And the company is coming from tells it all. Vice Chairman, he's risen through the ranks. He was in the banks. But all along, even with banks, I think with former Citizens Bank or something like that, he's always been in the legal department. And he did business in the gas and oil section. So going into Mobile and rising to the second position in Mobile means an awful lot.
And also coming from a legal background.
And come from a legal background, because usually, I would tell you, if you look at the history of management in oil companies, you either get people that come through marketing or through the production line to head. You know, so getting someone from legal is important. Now, maybe he would be able to stem some of the things we've known that NNPC haven't done well, and, you know, help us, and or maybe even help restructure, because I think that has been part of his job with Mobile for several years now.
And before he joined Mobile, he was with Texaco, and then he also did work with them.
You know, it's what they call, he's been a seasoned administrator in the oil field. Let's put it that way. In the oil industry, he's been a seasoned administrator. He's been very, very well regarded.
And just before the camera came on us, you were talking about a few of the people that were considered for this same opening.
But you know,
we had someone from Chevron, someone from Total. So what did you think that he had that really stood him out?
Look, you know, we always get the rumors. I mean, especially when things like this happened. I mean, the rumor is that a couple of other obviously top Nigerians in this oil, in the oil companies, were all considered. There's a young man, I think with Total, the French company, Mr. Kida, and then there's former Senator Gbenga Luko with Chevron, and all of them are in the executive director or deputy managing director positions in this, and all these foreign oil companies. I mean, but there are rumors, you know. No, I mean, until
they're not, confirmed.
It's never going to be confirmed that, you know, they were ever considered. But I guess people would look at it that, well, yeah, they were all in the same kind of position, next to the top of the line in their companies. And so these are the kind of people we actually expect.
So with the emergence of Dr. Kachiku as the new GMD, where do you see NNPC going?
Look, the oil industry is not my field, but what do we really want from the NNPC? We want to sell the oil we produce. We don't want to lose oil on the side.
Exactly, because if you talk about it not being your field, right? But the whole country has always been concerned about NNPC, the crude coming from Nigeria, because it's our number one source of income.
Let's sell what we produce and store what we cannot sell, but not, you know, not steal what we produce and, you know, steal the whole country dry. That's, you know, that's all he needs to do. Because oil is still our, you know, our main source of income.
Oh my goodness, I hope we'll be able to take this. I hope my producer can just roll it at the end of this. Well, at this point, that's much we can take about the state of affairs in Nigeria, the latest thing that happened during this past week. Thank you so much, Prof, for being part of us. He's our regular in-house contributor. And we're leaving you with a snippet, just highlights. Next week, Saturday, we'll bring you more details about it. We're recently invited to a 25th wedding anniversary here in the city of Houston, and this is about the Chilakas. It was a great event, very colorful. You take a look, and we'll join you again next week. Don't forget, keep your messages coming in on Facebook, Twitter. We'll read them, definitely. So, catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Love you guys, and I hope you enjoy your anniversary, and we're going to be here for another 25 with the 50th anniversary.
That I love them, and I pray God continues to bless them with many more years together in our family, to have peace and happiness and love. I mean,
understanding and communication made it work.
A simple key to this 25 years of marriage, even though it's not easy at all. And I can say my guiding principle is understanding, respect.
I'm wishing them the best of all. Today is the day of 25 wedding anniversary. And I know they are happy. We're all happy for them. And I want all the blessings of God to shower them in their marriage. And I thank God.
The love is there. And I'm sure it's going to continue to be there. And I wish Queen and her husband that they last 75 years.
That's by this time, 25 years more, we are coming to do our golden jubilee. And I pray that the good Lord will continue to bless this family, guide them, protect their children, Oh, she's already blessed, but I want more blessings for her. Congratulations from the bottom of my heart. I don't miss words. This marriage started from a humble beginning and blossomed up to this moment from what you can see today. This marriage is God sent. It's built on love, trust, understanding, communication, and most of all, God is at the center of this world.
Since MBC has been at your service, our clients have told us their businesses have been booming, and we found out too. What are you doing about your business? Do you want more clients? Do you want more people to know about the services that you do provide? Do you have a luncheon coming? What about your premieres? Call MBC. Advertise your birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, church program, or request our coverage at your function. MBC, at your service 24/7. Call 832-887-6452 or call 281-888-9502. MBC, your favorite station, sharing African views.